So after running a successful OnlyFans management agency for over 4 years, managing over 300 clients, and also coaching over 1.2 thousand agencies worldwide, here is exactly how I would recreate an OnlyFans management agency if I had to, from scratch. In this entire video, I'm gonna cut all of the BS. And on top of that, I'll also give actionable practical steps that you can take action on this one simple video. So make sure you sit back, enjoy, and let's just jump straight into it. So I will be going over everything from client acquisition, getting your first couple of clients, then how do you actually onboard them, how do you manage them the correct way, which will be covering the marketing, the chatting, and then how do you actually build this into a successful business, rather than just you by yourself, kind of running this whole thing little solopreneur way by yourself. How do you actually hire people the right way so your company actually grows? So you don't have to be necessarily working in the business, you can be working on the business and you can travel the world, have the location, time freedom, and of course with all of that comes the financial freedom. And at the end, I will share a lesson that I learned from a mistake that cost me over £297,000 GBP. That's like 320,000 bucks. So make sure you pay close attention to the end of the video to make sure how you can actually avoid this mistake in the first place so it doesn't cost you over 300 grand. Now, the main thing that I want to start off with is that in this video, we will be covering the new way to run an OFM, the new age OFM, right? So the old way, which is you do a bunch of outreach, you try and get a client, you sign her on for 50-50, and perhaps you send her a few marketing ideas, you send her some reels that she can recreate, and then maybe you yourself do a bit of chatting or you find somebody to do it, and that's about it. Times have changed, right? We're now going into 2025. Perhaps at the time of you watching this, this is 2025. Welcome, future you. Anyway, so there's a new way to do it. So let's just go into it, right? Now, for everybody who's completely brand new, my name is Marcus Hustle. As you can imagine, I've been running one of these businesses for the last 4 years. This video is not about me. You can check out all of my other YouTube videos. I also have a vlogs channel, which is just my day-to-day life, which we're actually recording a behind-the-scenes vlog right now. Anyway, so for you lot that are completely brand new and might not know what even is the business model itself, in very simple terms, you are just simply a manager to another creator. It's the same as musicians, actors, they all need a manager, right? Somebody who manages their life. Hey, do this, go do that, collaborate with this, go on this podcast, and help them with marketing and sales. And they, of course, take a percentage of everything you guys make together because the client is the pretty face, and then the manager is the brains behind the whole network, right? So that's in very simple terms, that's exactly what you're gonna be doing. So your job is to go and find people who are already on the platform, for example, like OF. They may be struggling doing 5,000 bucks a month. Your job is to come on board, help them strategize everything in the right way. And by the way, if you're thinking, well, how do I do that? I don't know what I'm doing. This video will literally explain all of that. I'm not gonna hold anything back. Then once you understand all of this, you put the right systems in place, keep them accountable, keep them consistent with the content, making sure they're actually becoming a popular online social media person, driving tons of subs to the account, and then from then on, you guys can make a lot of money. And typically you do take 50% of everything you guys make together. And really quick story about how I personally got into it. So I started an SMMA. So this was back when I was about 17, 18 years of age. I just was broke. I was living in a council estate in the UK, which for anybody in America is basically like the hood. Not a very nice area, pretty underdeveloped. None of my friends wanted to make money. None of my friends were even thinking about making money. It was just not even within that conscious mind that we could start a business. It was so far-fetched. It was such a crazy idea. And I always knew that, well, you could do it online, surely. There's ways to make money online. And even back then, I was playing like video games. So that's kind of how I was when I was a teenager, right? I was super nerdy. I was just staying at home playing video games 24/7. And I was going on this website called Twitch. And on Twitch, you can live stream video games like other people were streaming. And on there, people were tipping them money, which even now to this day is like crazy idea, right? Somebody's playing a video game and they're tipping them money. But besides the point. So that got me understanding and thinking that you can make money online. And then I fell into SMMA. I tried a bit of everything. Nothing really worked. Until I started traveling, I went to Europe and I went to Spain specifically. And I met this girl at the time, right? Well, obviously won't say who she was, still kind of friends with her. She's a cool girl. And she was doing OF, and I knew what the business or what OF was, but I never thought of it as a business model or a way to make money, including myself, until she started showing me how much money she was making. And all she was doing was posting the same pictures that she was on Instagram, but just on this website called OnlyFans. And that's the first lesson I want everybody to understand, is that for people who don't know what it is, people will think when they hear the word OnlyFans, it's like this crazy taboo thing, which is like super like X-rated adult content. And obviously, yes, that is on the platform, but not all of it is like that. Genuinely, some of our clients right now that are making over $100,000 a month, they post the same things that they would on Instagram, but just behind a paywall. And because we're genius at marketing, we position it in a certain way that it's exclusive content. Anyway, we'll get to that. So that's kind of how I fell into this whole world of OF. I was one of the first people. This was 2020. There was also the lockdown happening around the world. And I just went all in, right? And I'm gonna fast forward kind of to where we are today. Obviously, it wasn't so simple. We had lots of trials and tribulations. It was a lot of ups and downs. I lost a lot of clients. I've lost a lot of money, but I've also made a lot of money. Because of this business model, I've been able to support my mum. I just came back from London. I got her another house, which is a 3-story house. Is insane. Been able to retire her, been able to get myself all the things that I've ever wanted. But again, besides the point, this is not about me. This is just showing you guys what you can achieve with this business model. So that's a little story on how I personally got into it. And I think for a lot of you guys who are still completely brand new to the idea of OF, I think for a lot of people, you still won't quite understand why on earth would a client ever give 50% of her total income, right? Well, let me explain real quick. So when a client on OF or a creator on OF is trying to do everything by themselves, here's the amount of things that they got to do, right? I'm just going to try and list them from the top of my head. I'm going to miss out a bunch, but here are the main ones. They got to think of the content. They got to set it all up. They got to actually record it. They got to actually retake some content to make sure that it's correct. They have to review all of the content to make sure they find the best videos and photos. They didn't have to edit it. They didn't have to upload it. Then upload it on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. And then on top of all of that, they also have to go on the OF platform, respond to all the messages, post the photos on there, post the videos on there. Then we're talking about tax and so on, right? I can go on and on, right? Now, can they do all of this by themselves? Sure. Can you personally, let's just say you know how to make pasta, chicken pasta, right? Can you technically start a restaurant all by yourself, just selling chicken pasta? Sure, but why would you? Like, nobody does that, right? And at the end of the day, OF, it's not a charity, it is a business, right? You're making a lot of money. So there's a certain point in time when you have to delegate certain things to not only save a bunch of time, but also to actually be able to scale. And this is exactly where you come in. This is the opportunity of 2025 that I genuinely don't know anything else. Like, sure, there's like crypto and things like that. At the time of this recording, President Trump has just come into presidency, and Bitcoin is at like an all-time high. I can probably guarantee that in the next couple of months or a year, it's gonna plummet again. And then all of a sudden, all these guys who are teaching crypto, they're nowhere to be seen because they've lost all their money, right? Whereas this is something that's actually tangible, it's consistent, and is growing your monthly income every single month. And the craziest part is, and this is the last part before I go into the practicals, the craziest part is that you can make $10,000 a month with just one client, genuinely. Here's a bunch of results I'm gonna pop up on the screen. Like I said, we've been coaching 1.2 thousand agencies at the time of this recording. And out of those 1.2 thousand agencies, they have had hundreds of clients, right? If not thousands of clients. These are guys just like me and you from all around the world with no prior experience. And they have taken on a client that maybe perhaps started off by doing a couple $100s a month. And they've been able to scale her to over $10,000 a month. Heck, even $20,000 a month. And I know that is a lot of money. I know, trust me, I know that is a lot of money, but it's very doable at scale. And then if you're taking 50% of that, well, at 20K a month, 50% of that, you're left with 10,000 bucks. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, that is nearly 10 times what I was making at my 9 to 5. Anyway, let's go into the practical. So the first step is, of course, the business setup. So I'm not going to go too much detail into this because at the end of the day, when you're just starting out, I don't want you to overcomplicate things. I want you to keep it very, very simple. Keep it simple. So you need to think of a business name. Off of that, you then need to think of a logo. You can go on Fiverr.com and you can pay somebody to do this, or just use your imagination. Or there's a little friend for free called ChatGPT. Genuinely, you can make this stuff up for free. So think of a business name, think of a logo, depending on which country you're in. So in the UK, you need to register a limited company. In the USA, you need to register an LLC. Every single country is different, so figure out how to do it for your country. most countries, at least as far as I know, it doesn't cost a lot. It's about 15 to 50 bucks, right? So make sure you register this. Why is that important? Because you need to open up a business bank account, right? Super simple. They're not these complicated things. And also, by the way, obviously, in order to do this business model, you must be 18 and over. And to open up most LLCs, limited companies, and business bank accounts, you must be 18 and over. So that shouldn't be an issue, of course, right? If you're not 18 and over, by the way, stop watching this video. This video is not for you. Cool. So you set up a company, you set up a business bank account. You don't want to keep making sure that the money's coming into your personal. You don't want to do that. You want to invoice and you want to make sure the money comes into your business bank account. And then from then on, you can pay yourself on your personal account. Next is a website, or you can simply call it a landing page. You don't have to go too fancy. Again, you can go in something like Fiverr.com. You can pay somebody $30 or $50 to do it for you. Very, very affordable. Or you can just go on YouTube and you can educate yourself on how to create a funnel or a landing page. Super simple. Please don't overcomplicate this. This is step one, super simple. The next will be a couple of softwares that you'll actually need. So I've got some of them written down. So these softwares will be such as Zoom, WhatsApp, Calendly, Go High Level, a Google Workspace, Loom, Canva, CapCut, PandaDoc, and Inflow. Again, there are so many more, but these are the main core. I don't know how many there are, maybe 10. These are the core 10 that you'll actually need to start off with. And you only need to sign up with them once you're getting clients, like with some of them. Sure, Calendly and Zoom, you might want to pay for before you get a client, because you don't want to be on a Zoom call for 45 minutes and then Zoom just ends. It doesn't look very professional. You get what I'm trying to say. Next is going to be your payment processor. This is where most people mess up. This is where most people lose a lot of money, or they just have no idea how to actually get the money from the client, right? So the most generic and the most well-known payment processors are actually some of the worst ones to use, simply because the word OnlyFans instantly gets you banned, right? Again, like I said, not every single client and not everything you do on the platform of OF is explicitly adult content. It is not. You can actually just get away with helping creators who do painting, who do music, etc. Right? Granted, obviously the vast majority is adult content, but not all of it. That's the point. Now, if you're using something like Stripe, Wise, PayPal, and so on, you're on thin ice, right? Because what they can do is they can simply freeze your account. Well, first of all, they're going to try and look into it a little bit once you start making probably six figures a month. So once you start transacting $100,000 a month into your account, which, by the way, with this business model, genuinely can happen fairly quickly. I'm talking 6 to 12 months, right? Once you start doing that, they might start asking a few questions like, hey, wait a minute, like what's going on? Who are these invoices from? What do you actually do? Let me see your website, etc. And then if you have to start providing these things, they might simply, if they see something they don't like, they'll simply freeze your account and you're going to lose all your money. And this is the lesson on how I lost £279,000. So this is when I had just moved. We bought a Brabus G-Wagon. I was so excited. I was making the most money I made at the time in my life. We bought this Brabus G-Wagon. I'm driving it with my business partner. My business partner is sitting in the passenger seat. And he just turns the music down, right, completely. And I'm like, what's up? And he's just staring at his phone. he looked like a ghost, right? He's just staring at us. I'm like, yo, you okay? Like, what's going on? And I'm about to pull over, and he's like, our Stripe account is gone. And bear in mind, we were invoicing clients close to £50,000 a week, per week. So yeah, when he said that, I was like, okay, we've lost a lot of money. And long story short, yeah, they simply froze our accounts. They wanted to get a bunch of more details from us. We provided all the details. We had a registered company. Everything is legal. Everything is legit. We actually provide a service for our clients. Our clients are happy to pay us. We're not doing something weird. But no, they were still unhappy with it. And they said, look, unfortunately, we're going to have to terminate your account. And they said, you will get your money back after 180 days. We waited 180 days. Money never came back. They also charged back a lot of the invoices without our permission or without asking us, without asking the client. They just simply refunded a bunch of the invoices. So that's the point here. Please avoid that. So you want to use different payment processors, things such as WAP, Total Processing, Molly, CosmoPay, Easy, PayDirect, or Paxson, right? And there's a couple other ones, but these are just a couple for you to start thinking. So then moving on to the next part. So now you've got everything set up. You should also have a brief understanding of the business model. Now let's go over client acquisition. So client acquisition is by far, genuinely by far, one of the easiest parts of this entire business model. if you're brand new and you haven't done it, it will seem like it's the most daunting and it's going to be, oh my God, how am I going to do it? But is it not too saturated? Is not too many people are doing? First of all, about saturation, there's about 4 million active clients right now for you to potentially work with. 4 million OF creators, right? And in terms of agencies, think for yourself, how many do you actually know? Maybe me, unless this is the first video you're watching, then maybe one of your friends, if that, that's it, right? How many people do you know that are doing e-commerce, are doing SMMA, right? So many people, which therefore should tell you already from your own personal experience, this is not saturated, right? But anyway, let's go into client acquisition. So the first thing I need you to know is that volume is the biggest thing. So making sure that you're actually messaging as many clients as possible on a daily basis. The more the better. So for our agency, I mean, granted, obviously you won't be able to do this straight away from the get-go, but we do about 600 outreaches per day. So when you're just starting out, you should be at least focusing on 50 to 100 a day, consistently a day. The key word is a day, not just 50 today and then leave it for 5 days and then maybe get a bit of motivation because you watch one of my videos. No, 50 a day, every single day without a miss. The second thing is following up, making sure you actually follow up with the potential leads that reply. The third thing, making sure that the message that you actually send is not just one massive paragraph where you're trying to pitch your services or your agency. Think about it. That's what everybody does, right? So you've got to be unique. You've got to be different. You've got to stand out, making sure that the first message piques their curiosity, entices them enough to respond. And then once they respond, you then just try to get them on a phone call with you. Whether that's a physical phone call or it's a Zoom call, it doesn't matter. Up to you. There's certain ways to do it better, etc. Ideally, Zoom call would be best, but if you have to just get them on a phone call, that's fine, right? And that's the key. Pique their curiosity, get them to respond, get them on a phone call. Once you're on a phone call, you then just simply have to fake it till you make it in terms of confidence. Just about confidence is what I mean, right? For most of you guys, when you're starting out, you're not gonna feel the best, right? You watching this, do you go gym? Hopefully you go gym, right? When you started going to the gym, whether that was when you were 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, whatever, whenever you first started, you most likely kind of felt like, oh, but what if people are gonna judge me? What if I kind of do this exercise in the wrong way? What if I drop the weights? You know, and you're thinking like, what if everybody's gonna judge me and stare at me, etc. And in reality, nobody actually cares. Nobody's even looking at you. In the gym, everybody's looking at themselves. And on top of that, gym specifically, people are very kind and nice to each other, right? They try and help each other. Besides the point. So with doing sales and outreach, etc., it is one of these things where you get what's called an imposter syndrome, where you feel like you are inadequate of doing that said thing. And the only way to overcome that, the only way is by just simply doing it. You can watch my videos, you can read books, you can watch podcasts, and you can listen to things, you can listen to audiobooks and so on and so on, the list goes on. The only thing that is actually going to make you better at sales and more confident is by just simply rinse and repeating the action. Just do it. There's no better way. So by this point, you've done a hell of a lot of outreach. You have your first client. Now, within our coaching program, out of 1.2 thousand people, on average, it takes them 1.5 weeks to get their first client. Yes. When I was doing SMMA, it took me about 3 months to get my first client. And bear in mind, this is about 5-6 years ago. Now it's even more saturated, so now it probably take you about a year to get your first client, which is just insane. Like even 3 months, who the hell has 3 months to essentially waste doing outreach? That's crazy work. So with this business model, it's very quick to get your first client. So now that you got your first client, well, this is where the real work actually starts. And the best part is, it's actually fairly simple. So your job is to simply provide both marketing and chatting services, right? Now, up to you, there are different agencies that run it in a different way. For example, some agencies only provide the chatting services. Some agencies only provide the marketing, specifically just Twitter services, right? So it really depends on how you want to run your agency. This is how I do it, so I'm gonna teach you. So first thing we're gonna talk about is the marketing. So the biggest, and this is just one short YouTube video that I'm gonna try and give you as much value as possible. So of course, I'm gonna try and condense all of this value and information that I've learned in the last 4 years in about the next 5 minutes. In terms of marketing, the biggest thing you must understand is the long-term play. When I say long-term play, is understanding the fundamentals and basics of social media. Do you watching this, do you even understand what Instagram wants? Instagram, the platform, what do they want? Not Mark Zuckerberg, or technically Mark Zuckerberg, but what does Instagram want? Do you understand what TikTok wants? What does the platform want from you and the creator? All they care about is retention. That's all every single platform cares about. All they give a fuck about is how long can you retain people on their platform. If you do a fantastic job at retaining people on their platform, they're gonna reward you. The way they reward you is by pushing your content out to more people because it's mutually beneficial. You get more views, so you provide more content for the platform. The reason why they're pushing your content is because lots of people are watching it the whole way through, and it's a never-ending cycle of positivity, right? Like you're getting more views, you're creating more content, the platform's happy, etc. And also, why does the platform want retention? Well, the longer they retain a person on the platform, the more ads they can show to this person. The more ads they show to this person, the more money they make, right? Very, very simple stuff. So if we understand this basic premise of social media and how it works, we must lean into it. So when you're getting your clients to create content, don't just make them create content that is a bit boring. So if you watch it back and you think, this is a bit boring, skip. Or as you're watching it in the first 2 seconds, you're looking around the room like you're not even interested. Well, so is everybody else gonna think that as well. So start to self-analyze. When you're scrolling through TikTok, when you're scrolling through Instagram, when something grabs your attention, think about it logically. Why? If you like something, what made you actually just like that right there and then? What was it? Especially if it's a video, what grabbed your attention? If it's a YouTube video that you watched the whole way through, like this one, why? What was the hook? What was the first thing that they said? In this video, I obviously used the hook as well, right? So I said something along the lines of, after running a successful OnlyFans management agency for 4 years, managing over 300 clients and coaching over 1.2 thousand agencies, here's how I would, right? And that's the hook. So you got to self-analyze how and why certain things make you do certain actions. Based off of all of this self-analyzing, you can then go ahead and do better marketing, right? The next part is chatting. So within this part, again, this is a lot that we can cover, but in very simple terms, you must really understand client retention, the actual psychology behind a subscriber going onto the account, how and why are they on the account in the first place? And then you must understand how to actually sell more content at a higher price. So instead of just selling one piece of content, like one photo for $10, how do you sell one photo for $4.99, then one photo for $10, then one 30-second video for $25, and then one 2-minute video for $75, and then a 5-minute video for $200, as an example, right? All of a sudden, with the second option, you've made far more money from the same person than just one photo for $10. Make sense? And there's so many intricacies within chatting, and really and truly, again, this will be a separate video that I will record. This one is more of a bird's eye view and overview of just explaining how simple the business model can be. And well, that brings us to the last section, which is scaling. So I think most people forget that they're trying to run a business. You're not a solopreneur. You're not just trying to be a service provider just by yourself and you're just working with one client and that's it. I mean, physically you can do that if you want, but it's not really going to get you the life that you want. It's not really going to help you travel the world, help your parents, buy that watch, buy that car, right? If you want that, you must actually build this into a real business. What does that mean? It means hiring people at the right time at the right place. Now, if all of this is making sense and you're interested, there's an entire free course. I've got nothing to sell. There's a free course, link down below. Make sure you check it out. And also comment down below, what should I make the next video on specifically?